Okay. Well, yeah, hi, my name is Emily Kraft.
Hi, Emily.
You are Maggie Delaney-Potthoff.
I am.
And you were a singer at the Harmonius Wails, right?
Yeah, Harmonius Wail is our band. Yep.
Cool. So what was your biggest influence in starting to sing?
The biggest influence for me starting to sing was probably just my own self.
Oh.
Yeah, I've just been a singer my whole life, and that's really the easiest way to put it for me. It's just like there's a lot of notes in my head a lot of times, and I'm real tuned into the birds' songs and just sounds that I hear, and anything that relates to the voice. So that's what I do. Now, as far as influences, probably records that my big brother Harry would bring home from college, and
what was your favorite one?
Those are the kind of things. Well, I was a goofy kid. I mean, 12 years old, I was listening to Sergio Mendes and Barbra Streisand, and my friends were out getting Beatles records, and of course I love the Beatles too. Right. But so I was kind of quirky that way.
That's cool. How did you meet Sims, and how did the Harmonious Wails get together?
Oh, Sims and I met in a bar. It was his very first gig with a bluegrass band that he had at that time.
Oh.
And it was their first gig, and I worked with this guy who knew that band, and he let us all know on the staff. I was a preschool teacher. He let all our staff know it's our friend's first gig with their new band, and we want to go down and support them, and all the teachers said, oh, okay, we'll do that. So I went, and I had never really heard bluegrass music before. So I was really curious about it, because here I'd been doing music all my life, and this was a new sound for me, so I was really interested about it, and I really watched Sims playing mandolin. I thought it was fascinating. I'd never heard mandolin played before. So I went up and introduced myself, asked him some questions about bluegrass music, and then we just hit it off.
That's really cool. So what had you guys thought of the influence of doing gypsy swing for your band?
Oh yeah, well Sim started the band actually with other musicians, and he loved the music of Django Reinhardt, and it's very unique for him to apply mandolin to that music, because it's guitar-based music. And I would just sit in with the band a little bit. I would just, I learned one song, two, maybe then finally 3 songs, and for a few years I would just sit in like that, and then I joined the band full time. So yeah, it's kind of came together gradually.
Oh, so it's like a slow into
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I see you actually play this cardboard box. What kind of brought that on?
The cardboard box came, first I started out with 2 sand blocks, that's the kind you'd get at a hardware store, and you put some good sandpaper on those, and it's like you could do that pretty easily, and that's what I did for a while, and some other little percussive things, and then I had a snare drum that someone gave me. So I started playing brushes on the snare drum just in rehearsal, thinking, what does it sound like? And I didn't care for the sound so much with these particular instruments. It wasn't my favorite sound. I wanted something a little deeper. So I started playing on guitar cases. I put a paper bag, tape a paper bag on a guitar case, see how that sounded. I just ended up with a box. And it's great sound.
That's cool.
That's just how I like it.
Oh, so what started the whole art or the Django Festival that you both came up with? Oh,
well, that's kind of a beautiful story. The people who own this beautiful farm have been friends of mine for more than 30 years. In fact, Anne, who owns the barn with her husband Bill, she and I were college roommates together.
Aww.
So we go way back, and we share a lot of fun experiences. And when they bought this farm, she said, you have to come and see this land we bought. And so we drove out here. And we slid the barn door open, and it's this old, beautiful structure. And I said, Anne, we could do concerts in here. And we began this concert series together with some other folks. Anne and Bill named it Art in the Barn, and she had a vision. They are great supporters of the arts and of artists, and she had a vision of having visual artists here, the jewelers, the potters that you see here today, photographers, glass blowers. Wow. We've had all kinds of artists out here, and Ann and Bill have at Art in the Barn. So it began a sort of a series, and then it just grew from there, and now we have the Gypsy Swing Fest, which just started with one concert 9 years ago with the Robin Nolan Trio. And then the next year we had a couple bands, and we're like, well, let's make a little festival, and we just have it one day. Then we had it 2 days, you know, and then we built a loft in the barn, put seating up there, so we just grow it a little bit more and more all the time.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Has it always been Django Reinhardt swing music only?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. Could you tell me about your sons and their musical influence and
sure. Yeah, that's right. You know, like I was saying earlier, when I started playing with the band, I would just sing a few songs, and it was mainly because Sims and I had started our family, and we had these 2 little boys, so I couldn't be gone a lot and stuff. But then they got a little bit older, and it seemed more manageable, and they would travel with us. Our older son Henry actually has grown up playing guitar. He started when he was, I don't know, in middle school or so. And one of the guitar styles that he's worked on throughout the years is the gypsy jazz sound. And he's played here at the festival, and he and his buddy that he grew up with since they were 3 years old, these guys have known each other. In high school they started playing gypsy jazz together, which was pretty unique for high school boys. And so, but they did it, you know, and they have graced our festival here. Henry and his friend Jack Soroff, who's a very fine gypsy guitarist, now lives in Boston. Our festival here, they would be out on the grounds just perfuming the air with music and inviting people to jam with them.
That's really cool.
So it was really lovely, and that's Henry and Jack. And then last year they actually came together with bass and violin and played on the main stage. And had a very nice set. So that's Jack Soroff out of Boston, and we hope to have him back sometime soon.
Yay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, it was really nice meeting you.
You too, Emily. Thank you.
I can't wait to hear your band start.
All right, we'll fire it up.
Yay.
Thanks. See you later. Bye.
Harmonius Wail.
Change my luck and move back to Racine. Good luck comes and good luck goes. Sometimes rains make rivers flow. Don't know much, but this I know: things that come are things that go. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. That was a song that our man here on the mandolin, Sims, wrote. And it was very fun. I'm going to play a little gypsy jazz for you now, so hang on.